Hello friends, my name is Johnny Bersole and this is Stories of Hope, your weekly broadcast highlighting stories of hope for kids who need a family. Together, right here, we hear stories of hope about children and kids still desperately needing hope. And they're all in the foster care system here in Illinois and served by LYDIA Home as well. Now, LYDIA Home is a Christian-based ministry for children in foster care. We live out Psalm 82:3, which tells us to stand up for the weak and for children without parents, to protect the rights of people who are poor or treated badly. Friends, you're in for a treat today. Chrissie Lyons is our guest today. She is a national champion and world record holder in the world of archery. And, wait for it, she lived at LYDIA Home when she was a youth. Isn't that crazy? Chrissie, let's just jump right in. I can't wait to hear what you're going to tell us, but we got to hear first about the archery. Tell us about what you do in archery.
Well, thanks, John, for having me. I started archery about 2.5 years ago. I was trying to get my daughter into it, and I wanted to help her a little bit, so I tried shooting a bow. I fell in love with it. I started shooting every day. About 7 months after I started shooting, I started competing, and last year I went to the national championships. I became national champion and I broke the world record.
Wow. Now, I don't know that much about archery. I did shoot a little. We called it bow and arrow when I was a kid. And at a target in the backyard with a target on a couple of bales of straw. I would guess that your route is not a typical route of someone who starts and 7 months later is competing and being so wildly successful.
No, it's not. I was very lucky to find an amazing coach right out of the gate. I started training and just put a lot of time into it. I loved it, and now I coach and I try to help others feel that success as well.
Wow, that's great. I do have to ask you, since you started shooting in order to help your daughter get into it, does she shoot at all?
She does occasionally, but right now she's very involved in her local marching band. They're going to Macy's this year. We're very excited about that, but she does say that when she's done with that this year, she's going to go ahead and pick up the archery again.
Wow, a mother-daughter team.
That would be a lot of fun.
Wow, that sounds like it. Well, the reason we're here is all about foster kids in the care, and you were in the foster care system. Would you tell us, Chrissie, how was LYDIA helpful to you?
Well, I entered the foster care system when I was about 6 years old. I was a high-risk placement. That means that my parents' parental rights had not been severed quite yet, but I was at high placement means that you're likely to need to be adopted. When I got into LYDIA, I was 8 years old. I had already been placed in a foster home, and during that point my parents' rights had been severed, and they helped me a lot with dealing with that concept of not having a family, waiting to be placed up for adoption and finding a home. Also, I had an accident in my first foster home. I got burned, and so they helped me work through that, get treatment for my burns. I had to have some surgeries. They were 2nd and 3rd degree burns, and so I had additional trauma on top of already being in the foster care system. I had medical trauma, so they really helped me to work through that as well.
Wow, that's a lot, and at such a young age.
Yes, I was very, very, very young.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm so grateful for those people at LYDIA that were able to help you with that. Friends, you are learning about how LYDIA Home is serving children and youth in foster care, children like Chrissie, and you may be wondering what you can do to help. Our greatest need is for families to serve as foster families, and in the next segment you're going to hear a little bit more about that. So if you want more information, you can go to our website, hopeforourkids.org. That's Hope for Our Kids, all spelled out, .org. You can also support the kids by donating. Become a monthly partner. And if you have any questions, check out our FAQs that are at the website. Again, that's hopeforourkids.org. We're with Chrissie Lyons today. Let's talk a little bit more. Tell us a story, Chrissie, about when someone at LYDIA helped you.
Well, I was there actually for 3 years. So by the time I was 11, I used to like to cook, so the cook would let me come down and help her cook. And one year she took me home for Christmas because a lot of times some of the kids get to go with their extended family, but I didn't have that.
Right.
So she took me home with her, which was wonderful. But they would ask us every Christmas what we would like for Christmas. And this one year I said that I wanted twin Cabbage Patch dolls. They were all the rage at the time.
I remember that.
Yeah, and they looked at me, and twin Cabbage Patch dolls were quite expensive.
I remember that too.
Yeah, and so they were trying to encourage me to give them something that was a little less expensive, and I was just adamant, nope, that's all I wanted, and if I don't get anything else, that's fine, I'm okay with that. I know I'm probably not going to get the twin Cabbage Patch dolls. Well, Christmas morning comes around, and I open up, there's a gift there for me. I'm surprised, I open up the gift, and inside is a boy and a girl twin Cabbage Patch dolls, just what I had asked for. And I looked at them, I took them out of the box, and I hugged them, and I named them Richie and Becky. And Richie and Becky were my brother and sister. And so I desperately missed my brother and sister.
Sure.
And I just wanted to hug them all the time, and I couldn't. And so I had named those dolls that. They laid on my bed, and every night when I went to bed, I hugged my brother and sister. And so somebody out there gave me that gift, and I've always wanted to say thank you for that. I always appreciated that. I appreciated the cook taking me to her house and, letting me have a little family on Christmas because that meant so much to me.
Wow, that is so powerful, so sweet, and bringing tears to my eyes. But my kids tell me I'm an old softie anyway with that.
That's okay. My kids say that they cry when I tell that story too. So
That's very powerful. Do you remember the cook's name, Chrissie?
I think her name was Alice. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
It's been a long time, but I'm pretty sure that was her name.
Well, why don't you thank that person, whoever gave that gift right now?
Oh, yes, definitely. That's why I wanted to tell that story. Thank you so much. It meant so much to me. It gave me something to hold on to, and it gave me something to love.
Yeah. Well, friends who are listening, you can hear what a difference a simple gift at Christmas makes for a child who is without family, and how someone who had the love to give, a cook, during their job, but they went beyond that and took you home for Christmas. How
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. Just having a place to be at, a home to be at, to be under a tree, be around people who cared about me, that's priceless. I still feel that every holiday. I feel that love of family that I didn't have when I was younger, so it means a lot.
Wow. So I'm curious, do you still have the dolls?
I don't. I wish I did.
But in your heart you still have them.
Oh, I still
that's
have
great.
it. Just the person, whoever did that for me, it wasn't even about the dolls. It was, I knew somebody cared enough to do that for me. And we always appreciate, and we know when people care about us and give us things, even if we haven't met them, like that means something. That's important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I mean, somebody out there cared.
Well, you're saying, you've said a little bit already, but anything else about what it's like to not have a family?
So people ask me sometimes what it's like to enter the system and be without a family. And many of us have suffered a loss. We've lost somebody in our family, a parent, a grandparent, an aunt, an uncle, a sibling. And there's a grieving process that goes with that. For a foster kid, we haven't just lost one person. Usually what happens is we're removed from the home and we lose every single person that we knew. We lost our immediate family members, we've lost those extended friends and faces that we know, and we've also lost our home, so most of our belongings, all our friends. So most people, when they grieve, you go to a funeral, you have people that help you through that grief.
Exactly.
That you love and that you know. And that's a long process. It's not something that's over in a day or two. It's years that we're usually grieving somebody that's very close to us. So when we're a foster kid, we go through all that, and we go through it all at once. We've lost our whole world. And it's very traumatizing. And if you're in the foster care system and you're in and out of children's homes and foster homes, you're going through that over and over and over again. And it's painful. It's so destructive. And then you don't have anybody to turn to going, help me. And then you're a child, so you don't have the adult skills that we have to help work through that grieving process. So the kind of services that I got at LYDIA, where it helped me with the counseling, that I still grieve, there's still trauma.
For sure.
But it helps you work through it and put those pieces together and try to work through your head so that you can move on and grow to be a better person.
And also, the people who have, when as a child, the people who have caused the neglect, who have been, or caused the abuse, they're adults. And
Yes.
so it's hard to go to adults who,
There
they're the
is.
ones, because they're kind of all grouped together. I know we experience that with our kids at Lydia currently.
You have you don't know how to trust. So, a lot
Yeah.
of us have care providers, and that's who we go to when we get hurt. But who do you go to when the person that you're supposed to go to is hurting you? So it takes a long time to rebuild those bonds with people, to be able to trust people again and know that they're going to be there and have your back when you need it most, because your whole life you've never had that.
Right.
You've never known, hey, I can go to this person and they have my back, they'll take care of me, I'm all good. You only have yourself.
Yeah, well, we're going to hear some more about that in our next segment. We're so grateful that you're with us today, Chrissie, and willing to revisit those things that were hurtful. This is Stories of Hope, friends. We want you to listen more, come back on the other side, because everyone deserves to be loved. Everyone deserves a home. Everyone deserves another chance. And there's always hope, friends. Hello, friends. My name is Johnny Bersole, and here's Stories of Hope, your weekly broadcast highlighting stories of hope for kids who need a family. And right now we're talking about LYDIA Home. LYDIA Home serves over 250 children and families and is a Christian-based ministry for children in foster care. We live out Psalm 82:3, which tells us to stand up for the weak and for children without parents. Chrissie, we're going to dive right back in and tell us, you talked some about trauma. Tell us how you have dealt with and how you deal with that trauma in your life.
So the thing about trauma, especially trauma at a young age, when we're young children, and trauma that goes on for many years, is that never ends for us. It's a story of survival. It's a story of taking one day at a time. A lot of times we feel silenced because most people can't handle what we have to say. So we kind of gloss over our story. We give them the bare bones of it. But for many years, I did not talk about the things that I had survived, the things that I had been through. And archery, why I love it so much is I have a team and they're very supportive, and they've helped me to learn to find my voice. I spent a lot of time reflecting on how I react to different things, learn to accept and love who I am as a person, that it's okay that I'm reacting that way as long as I'm doing it in a positive way, to learn from it and grow, staying positive, giving myself goals, and making that family. So if we don't ever really get a supportive family, we find people around us that are positive people, positive influences. We make that our family. So my archery team has become my family, and that's been very, very powerful. It's been so empowering to have people that believe in me,
Right.
and encouraging me and only seeing the best in me. I don't have a file chasing me in archery. It's just me, and they see the good in me, and they're trying to help me grow as a person. So if you find people like that, that really helps you with the trauma. A lot of counseling, and somebody once asked me, one of my counselors, how are you okay? Because when I first walked into her, I was like, I'm going to tell you a bunch of things, and I know this sounds crazy, but I need you to believe me. I just need to tell one person my story, and all of it, the ugly, the bad, the beautiful, all of it. And I just need you to believe me, because it was a lot. I had a hard time, believing my own story.
Right.
It just didn't, this couldn't possibly happen to one person, but it did. And she listened, and sometimes she would cry with me. And so having that empathy helped me heal too. So we need that. We need somebody that's able to listen. And a lot of times as kids, we are afraid to talk because we feel ashamed, or we feel that somebody won't believe us, or we think they can't handle what we have to say, and we don't want to hurt them or them to not like us if we tell them that. So it's really important that we find our voice and be able to talk, but also be able to have great goals to look forward to, because that gives us something positive in our life.
Right. Yeah, to find someone who you can trust and to share that with sounds critical. I mean, you kind of allude to the power of a mentor, because we also have mentors at Lydia that come in and you know, hang out with the kids for a couple hours a week, maybe go get a Subway sandwich and
I
eat
used
it
to love that.
on the
Yeah.
picnic table, and just to have somebody other than one of the staff, other than somebody who's getting paid to be there.
Yeah, I had one of those, and
Did
and
you?
I did, and I tell people, like, I'm like, you know, I've a couple of times mentioned to people, you know, fostering, if you can find it in your heart to foster during fostering month. I've thrown it up on my Facebook a couple of times and said, if you can find it in your heart. But I understand that not everybody can foster. So if you can mentor, that was huge for me, to get away from the other kids and have some one-on-one time. Like, that was a huge thing, to be able to get away. And, you know, the girl took me downtown, we got to see the water tower. You know, I have all kinds of stories about being mentored, but be a mentor. And I'm still looking for mentors in my life. My coach is an amazing mentor to me. You know, and I've told him this many times, that he plays that role, but I don't think he realizes, because I've had that before and I knew to look for it. So, you know, he's mentoring me in my adult life and in becoming an advocate. And so, you know, I'm trying to pay it forward, all that stuff that people did for me when I was a kid. You know, I'm so grateful. So now that's why I'm here,
Yes.
trying to pay it forward, you know.
So grateful for that, because it is,
Yeah.
like you said, it's revisiting, you know, things that are painful.
Yes.
And it's and yet that's part of how we experience healing, is by bringing it out into the light, making it so that it's real, it's not made up, and that there is hope.
Yeah,
to go forward.
you absolutely take, you know, the negatives, you can make them something amazing. You can make them powerful. You can make it help you be a stronger person, a better person. So it doesn't have to be a negative forever. You can make it a good thing.
And I think we have a little bit of a hard time with that in the West here in the United States, is that we like to avoid pain, and not that we should seek pain, but really pain, when it's difficult things and difficult times and pain worked through, does strengthen us, as you're saying.
Oh, absolutely.
Rather than
absolutely.
avoiding it, running
Again,
away, going through it, as my friend says, going through it rather than around it.
yeah, going through it and coming out on the other side and finding your inner strength.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of that gave me a lot of faith and determination. I don't talk about God to other people a lot, but I'm very religious, and it's because I learned that at Lydia. You know, I always had God, even when I had nobody else. Even when I felt very, very alone in the world, I had God, and God wanted me to be a good person, so I needed to fight to be that good person. So that's what I spent my whole life doing.
That
Yeah.
you have that awareness, because that's one of the things that we do at Lydia, is that we want them to know, we want the kids that come through there to know that God loves them, has a plan for them, and it's hard to hear sometimes, I think, for the kids, because of how they were treated, and yet it's true. So I'm grateful that has been real for you. Well, Chrissie has identified a couple ways, friends, that you can help being a foster family. You can go to our website that I gave you. That's hopeforourkids.org, hope for our kids, spelled out, .org, and you can get information about what it is involved with being a foster family. Fill out a one-page sheet. Someone will call you, and you can have a little conversation. You can also fill that out and become and consider becoming a mentor, or you can become one of our supporters and help to fund the care that we provide for the kids. Well, Stories of Hope is all about kids needing hope, kids needing a family, kids needing a second chance. So, Chrissie, what would you say to anyone who's prayerfully considering becoming a foster family?
You know, we're just looking for somebody to belong to, and somebody that can belong back to us. It's a two-way thing. We want to know that when kids ask us, you know, about our families, all kids ask each other about their families or where they come from. We want to be able to say that we belong to somebody. We want to be loved. We want a safe place that we can have the ability to grieve what we've lost. We need normalcy, something as simple as sitting over the stove and making some scrambled eggs with us. It's a fond memory for me. Like all children, we can't be perfect, but like all children, we can learn from our mistakes because we are more than a file. The ability to make a new future and to dream and work for that better future, that is so important. If we have a safe place, if we have people that encourage us to be that better person, help us learn from those mistakes, we can succeed so much more than we ever imagined. And I'm a walking example of that.
Yes, you are a shooting example of that, aren't you?
Yes.
Well, Chrissie is making it very clear that you don't need to have a degree in counseling or rehabilitation or child development in order to serve children in need. You need to provide. Most of us can probably make scrambled eggs, and that would be a great thing to do with a child who's looking for some normalcy, looking for a place, as Chrissie says, a place to belong. And that is just so critical for us to have a place to belong, and that's really what God says, is that you belong, you're mine, wherever we are, whatever we're doing, it is there. Wow. Any final comments for our listening friends today, Chrissie?
Well, I just wanted to thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here, for giving a Lydia kid a voice. We all have voices. We all need to be heard. We all need to be loved. We all need to belong. And we need to hope for our future. We need to fight for that because we deserve that. We're all great people. We have good in us, and we can shine like the stars if somebody would just give us the chance.
Wow. Well, friends, if you're not moved after listening to Chrissie today, then you better check your pulse, because I'm not sure you're breathing. This is so powerful, Chrissie, to hear from you about how easy it is. Let me say that. How simple. It's not easy. It's simple.
It's a tough job, but it's rewarding. And it's not just us growing. You're growing too. So you're learning from us. And
I like what you said, it's a two-way.
Yeah, it's a two-way street. So we get stronger, but when you help us through tough times, because it's not an easy journey. No journey is easy. We all struggle. So there's going to be struggles, but there's that reward of getting through it. And when you get through that struggle, like knowing you're a stronger and better person, and it's both the child and the adult.
Wow. Yeah, that's so good and so great. Well, in this episode, friends, you've learned about what it takes to be a foster family and the huge impact that you can have in the lives of kids in need. Thank you so much, Chrissie. So grateful.
Thank you.
Well, remember, friends, go to hopeforourkids.org, hopeforourkids.org, all spelled out, or you can call 773-355-5577. Ask to talk to Melina. Well, thank you for joining Stories of Hope today, because kids need a family. Kids need hope. And LYDIA Home is providing that. They're a ministry organization, but we're not a family. These kids need families. And so we're looking for people who want to live out Psalm 82:3, to stand up for the weak and for children without families. Be that family. Make a difference, friends, because there is always, always hope. Thanks again, Chrissie.